Have you experienced self-doubt? Maybe you're working on something some nasty little voice in your head tells you you probably won't succeed at. Do you believe you can be successful? Do you deserve to be loved? The most Scottish man in the world, Gary John Bishop, certainly seems to think so, and so do I. So today we'll be going through just a few highlights from Gary John Bishop's self-improvement masterpiece, Unfuck Yourself. Apologies if there's an echo in the recording. I recently moved to a different state and the apartment I'm in echoes a lot worse than my old home office. Number 1. Self-talk matters. Firstly, you have to accept that everyone talks to themselves all the time. Not necessarily out loud, like how you hear my voice right now, not even actively. Most of it is subconscious thought. Therefore, rather than positive thinking and things like self-affirmations, where you might tell yourself positive things in the mirror, Gary John Bishop instead recommends that you use more bold and aggressive assertions. Why? Because he's too fucking Scottish for that. Oh, I bet that was bad. No, well, I'll keep it. The goal is to reprogram the way that your subconscious thinks continuously. Because the subconscious will keep talking to you in a way that you may not always notice, and it will reinforce whatever worldview you have adopted. This means that negative subconscious self-talk yields more negative subconscious self-talk. That's shitty. However, the good news is that positive subconscious self-talk, therefore, yields more positive subconscious self-talk. Part of the reason for this is the neuroplasticity of your brain. Basically, your brain's structure changes over time to where the same thought patterns are demanded of it repeatedly. You might equate this to muscle memory. You're going to have a much easier time teaching a retired Mike Tyson to knock someone's lights out than you are a brand new 15-year-old you just recruited out of high school. But you do have to be an aggressive predator, attacking the negativity in your brain in order to set your mind off of one of these courses and onto the other. We do so by deliberately choosing what words we speak with verbally and in active thought. And slowly, like a vaccine, this diction or word choice starts to stop the infection of negativity. Number 2, speak in the present tense. Don't use the verbiage should, try, or will. Studies suggest that speaking of an event as if it is ongoing heightens the emotional response you get from it. Past tense reduces the emotional response. Therefore, especially when deliberately attacking our subconscious for reprogramming, it is useful to use our most powerful statements in the present tense. Even if you've got your self-talk under control, this can help reinforce the righteous path. Instead, use verbiage like I am, I do, I assert, I embrace. Some examples of present tense assertions that Gary John Bishop offers are I am relentless or I am willing, the latter of which he says is actually his favorite. Although my personal favorite is I am clicking the like button. But my other favorite is the inverse of Gary's favorite. I am unwilling. I think of that, and I think of all the scenarios, situations, and limitations I've had in my life that I despised, and in some sense still despise. This kind of explains why Gary doesn't like to think of his assertions as positive thinking. I am unwilling is a negative statement, but a productive one. Number 3. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. A lot of deliberate uplifting self-talk is nice, and I say uplifting because, as we just saw, negative self-talk can be useful too, but what good is it when you're down in the dumps in some form or another right now? You feel unworthy and like a failure today. Diverting briefly from Gary John Bishop, Roman philosopher Cicero actually recommended a second self technique to developing a character you want. Just like we learn as kids by copying the adults around us and sometimes the other kids, by now you've probably seen bits and pieces of different kinds of people that match what you would be if you could flip a magic switch to be an upgraded version of yourself. Once you can see who this upgraded or ideal version of yourself is, you then take on that role. That doesn't mean you become that person, or else that would be the non-existent magic light switch. Instead, you are going to act just like you would for a play or a movie in this character. This is your second self. You are merely watching this person go through what would otherwise be your day in the first person, like a dream where you have no control. Intentionally develop a mannerism that you associate with your second self as a reminder to get into character. Checking your watch is an easy one that I recommend. If other people push back like you're acting weird, well then, we keep a pile of wood out back so that they can build a bridge and get over it. There's a reason these people are bothered by or upset about your second self's behavior. But Gary talks about that later in the book. The idea here is that you deliberately have this second self take over your body or act in this play for large swaths of your day. Maybe you just do that while you're at work. You just let the character take over and watch what they do. Or after work until you turn in for bed. Over time, eventually, the second self will merge with or devour your previous self. One day, you might just wake up at 4 a.m., get back from your run, look in the mirror and be like, damn, I've got abs. Or you just get promoted at work. And it will be in those moments you realize you have changed who you are, and the second self is now you. Number 4, come to terms with yourself. Gary asserts that, on some level, you must be okay with your behavior if you are continually exhibiting it. Do you want a six-pack? Pizza tastes really darn good. It's so satisfying to just tear into Eric whenever he's being an idiot. Anger management, patience, who needs it? If you are continually exhibiting behaviors like this, that means your present subconscious, you, are okay with it. Once you realize you have cognitively put yourself in the place that you are, you must also assume responsibility that you can cognitively get yourself out of it. And to make it easier, most of us don't have superhero level goals like saving the world or slaying a dragon. We probably want to lose some weight, save more money, be a little bit better received by the people around us. Break it down into smaller assertions. I am unwilling to eat this badly. I am unwilling to waste my time or energy showing anger. I am willing to go for a jog right now. I am willing to be patient with this person. Number 5. I embrace uncertainty. Gary asserts that most of our unhappiness stems from having expectations based on the human desire for certainty or security. This includes expectations you didn't even realize you had. I expected my first major employer to actually pay me, not to repeatedly jack up budgeting paperwork that left me with virtually no income. That was stressful. I expected that same employer to enable me to do my best consistently. After all, what boss doesn't want their employees to be more productive? That's just a given. Lo and behold, it is not a given. I expected to be able to hit the gym every day once I moved here to Maryland. Joke's on me, all the gyms are closed. At least I have a pull-up bar, a couple of dumbbells, and a running trail. Finally, my view count on these videos has been as volatile as the stock market amid COVID-19. I'd say Gary's assertion is confirmed. Have you ever been angry or sad that something didn't go your way? Something that shouldn't even be able to not go your way? Maybe you expected if you worked hard and did your best and you were the best, you would be recognized for it. You'd be the one who gets promoted or gets the award. It just blindsides you out of nowhere. Life is unfair. The universe is conspiring against me. Well, I have news for you. You might think it's good or bad. The universe doesn't give a damn. It's not rooting for you or against you. Fairness is an illusion for victors. Sometimes it'll be unfair to your disadvantage. Sometimes it might be unfair to your advantage. The last time you happened to randomly pick up a dollar bill off the street, you don't think someone on the brink of starvation under a bridge needed it more? I say again, the universe does not give a damn. It's a cold, merciless world sometimes, and that's why our aversion to risk used to be necessary. Cavemen who took risks died. Not to belittle the negative things in the world, but in modern society, despite what the news will tell you, most people do not have regular encounters with crime and violence every day, week, or even month. You might once a year see some lady in the grocery store putting food in her purse. The worst moral dilemma about this is, should I report it? What if she's in dire need? Do I really care about Food Lion's profits? All this to say that our worst case scenario for risk is not all that bad. The desire for safety stands against every great and noble enterprise. Tacitus. You won't get a raise if you don't ask. You won't be financially independent without starting a business or investing. You won't find the love of your life staying at home. But do wait until the pandemic is over, please. Do you think all the mega successful people you can think of had smooth sailing toward success? Oddly enough, most shitty biographies either make it seem like they had the Midas touch and everything just turned to gold, or that at every turn it was a valiant struggle, right up until the part where you actually heard about them. Do you think that this guy is successful? Most of you would probably say yes. The rest laughed at me for even asking the question. General Mattis, former Secretary of Defense for the United States, once denied to send a rescue team to Army forces when his forces were the closest to the battle. 3 Americans died. He made that choice due to a lack of intelligence and would, 6 hours later, allow his team to assist. Whether or not denying this support at first was a correct choice is debatable, but the point is, most people who praise the man, whom I respect immensely, will never bring up this controversial decision, because they only see the pristine, crisp, hardcore warrior monk that is Mad Dog. Not all of his faults and mistakes. Many ultra-successful people had no idea they were going to succeed. They feigned confidence while doubting themselves regularly, perhaps using some derivative of a second self. They succeed because they don't let uncertainty stop them. They succeeded by relentlessness alone. Number 6. I am relentless. Think of your greatest achievement in life, the moment you are most proud of. What did you do to achieve it? One thing I guarantee is that you weren't passively moving through life leading up to that moment. You were proactive, you were deliberate, and you were uncomfortable. Often, how discomforting your journey to success is can determine how valuable the goal feels to you once accomplished. If a professional model goes up to that cute redhead and asks her out, no big deal. He's literally designed for it. But with a face built for radio, when you do it, that's a big deal. You must be relentless amid discomfort and uncertainty. That doesn't mean standing still on hot coals or being dumb enough to walk on hot coals in the first place when you can just walk around it. It means pressing through at the best pace you can no matter the situation, which is never standing still. When you try to change yourself significantly, others around you might push back or resist that change. This is because you are altering not only your own perception of the world, but also theirs, because you are a part of their world, albeit a small one. They get a sense of uncertainty and discomfort when you're changing. True relentlessness comes when all you have left is relentlessness. When there is no hope of success left. The world won't stop you. It doesn't give a shit. The main thing that will stop you is the idea that you have been stopped. The Wright brothers met resistance. Society didn't say it was reasonable to get a 100-pound chunk of steel and iron to fly. What are your goals? Increase your income? Lose weight? Find the love of your life? You don't deserve any of these things. But you also don't deserve to not have any of these things. Go for what you want because you deserve it just as much as anyone else. You won't know if it's possible or not. You could try for 100 hours and fail, but the next moment succeed. You could die before you get there. Sometimes the moment of success comes early. There's no way to tell. When you're relentless, you don't worry about how many miles or minutes you have left. You simply take the next step. It's your life. Grow it relentlessly.